Today is May 1st, Wednesday, 2019. It's 55 Fahrenheit outside, 64 in here. A little damp because it is doing its rainy thing. They were talking about 7 to 8 days of on-off rain, clouds all day, drizzle all day, that type of thing. So yesterday it wasn't too bad, to be honest with you, but today the miserable day is back. So, but other than that, where am I? Well, I'm right here where I always am. And again, it's 11 o'clock. I've had breakfast already. I'm on my first cup of coffee. And I just turned on the computer and I see here, good old Connecticut is still looking. I'm telling you, I know all you states are the same, but when it comes to Connecticut, it's always big money when we get hit. There was an article the other day to where there was something like another 12, I know I'm going to screw this up, either 1,200 or 12,000 people last year left Connecticut. And those are just, families. They weren't, people like businesses. There were at least a dozen of businesses that I'm aware of that left Connecticut. And what happens, it's a snowball effect. And these stupid liberals, Democrats don't understand it. You keep going up on taxes, you're going to keep pushing people out. You push people out, you have to go up on taxes again. Then what happens? You push more out. That's what's happening here, and they don't see that. Stop spending money, lower the taxes, bring people back, give them an incentive. Right? It's getting ridiculous, but now we're talking life-changing laws. Could be big in Connecticut. Well, let's see what they're saying here. My computer in the house, I can just highlight it. I don't know if I can do that here or not. Maybe. Let's see.
Hartford, CT. There is a little over a month to go before the State General Assembly adjourns for the session, but before that legislators will have to consider a massive array of bills with potentially life-changing effects for many of the state's residents. Life-changing isn't an exaggeration this session. Minimum wage workers could find themselves making nearly $5 more an hour in a few years, along with access to paid family and medical leave. Those criminal records could start with a clean slate. There are also some potential increased costs for Connecticut families. Commuters may find themselves paying hundreds of extra dollars a year in tolls, and the cost for paid family and medical leave would add a $250 deduction to a worker making $50,000 a year. Gov. Ned Lamont also wants to tax services at the same rate as goods, so that would mean higher costs for things like haircuts, veterinary care, home renovations, and legal services. Some proposals would target the state's richest with new taxes.
All right, well, that's some of that. I don't want to bore you with all this, but you can see where they're going. Now, some of this I can understand. However, you have to do it gradually. I believe there's a lot of underpaid people, and they should do something about that, all right? Because there are employees that are just greedy, that are going to take advantage to anybody they can, to greed and fill their own pockets. So they have to be stopped. We have to get, these people that are being taken advantage of, mainly the U.S. citizens. The other ones can go back to where they were, and at that point, get them on track to get them at least up below what the welfare department would give them. So I kind of feel for that, Now, it may be tough on some businesses. That's the problem. So, some businesses that are actually doing their things legit may not be able to afford those extra dollars. So then what will they do? Well, they'll cut them part-time, and they'll hire a number of part-time workers to fill the slot, which there's a lot of businesses here in Connecticut already doing that because of the benefits. They cut their hours to half, they don't have to give them benefits, and now the people are making less money with no benefits or have to pay. And believe me, I know what it costs for benefits now because we have to pay. So that's one of that's a touch and go. I mean, I kind of agree with that one. We do have to do it, but we have to watch how we do it. The other is criminal records, depending on what that criminal record is. You just don't want to say, well, okay, you've got a clean slate now, so you can go out and get a good job. Well, maybe not. That's the case. That a record, for somebody that wants to work, they'll find work. But it's one of those things to where, how far are we going to go with that? There's felons out there that really shouldn't be felons, and I agree with that. But how do you separate them? You just can't say, okay, all class, blah, blah, are now, clean. Because that class may have a couple of in there that were just dropped because they had a good attorney. I'm going to use 1, 2, 3. Let's just say, you were arrested and you were supposed to be one being the worst. At this point, supposed to be a 1. And the good attorney got you dropped to a 2, which is mez. You're still a felon, but you're not that bad guy, Well, how do you, you know what I mean? You're still that bad guy. So how do you kind of separate these things? So I agree to a point, but if I had to either say yes or no on just what I heard, I'd say no. All right, let's see what else they have to say.
Connecticut is the land of steady habits, so all these proposed changes aren't guarantees. Here are some of the major law changes legislators are considering over the course of the next month. Minimum wage. A bill proposed by Lamont would raise the state minimum wage from $10.10 to $11.25 on Jan. 1, 2020, and incrementally raise it to $15 an hour on Jan. 1, 2023. Future increases would be linked to the Employment Cost Index. At the current minimum wage, a parent with a family of 2 would have to work 54 hours a week before becoming ineligible for the state Husky A insurance. Under a $15 minimum wage, that would drop to 36 hours per week, according to the State Office of Fiscal Analysis. The change would also lead to increased costs for municipalities that employ minimum wage workers. It is estimated to cost Bridgeport an extra $1 million in fiscal year 2023. 2 bills that passed committee would eliminate training wages.
Alright, so they're doing it over steps. I can understand that. They're talking about Husky. Hold on a minute, that may be my daughter. That was my eye doctor telling me that everything is fine. Seen 3 doctors yesterday and they all said everything was fine. So far so good here. Meanwhile, I can understand that. Now, they were talking about the Husky, the state insurance. I'm not totally familiar with that, other than I know that it's close to impossible to get to see a doctor when you need them. If, for instance, normally with the office that I deal with, if I was to call them up and said, listen, I'm not feeling good, I can probably get in there within a day or 2, if not the same day. I may not see the same doctor, but I'm in the same group within my town here. With Husky, you really don't have that. You call a doctor, again, this is what I've heard and somewhat know about a little, but not a lot. They're going to say, well, our next appointment is 4 weeks from today. Meanwhile, you're miserable, you're in pain, and you're waiting 4 weeks. So the next step would be you go sit in the emergency room. And that's like not a first come, first serve. That's the highest priority. It's seen first. So you can be sitting in that emergency room for 5, 6, 7 hours. You know, and again, you know, it's not the most comfortable place to be, because it's not put there for comfort. It's put there to get you in, to be seen, and to get taken care of, and hopefully go out. But because the system is growing so fast with all these people that are coming in, and with the people that are here breeding like rabbits instead of smart people, this is what happens, you know. And then you get the career welfare, you know, people that are really shouldn't be on welfare, but they've been on it all their life. Their kids grow up and get on it. I call that a career welfare case. You know, and then they keep having more kids so they can get more money, and that's basically what it is, and that's how that works, and then that's making it worse. So there's a lot of crap going on, but the Husky program, which could have been good, is mez, because of, you're not going to see somebody right away, and you know, I mean, that's all there is to it. So, all right, I don't know where I left off. Hold on, let me find it. I'll be right back.